everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Sierra and today I'm going to do some freezer meals with you. We have a busy couple weeks happening and I need to have some freezer meals in my freezer ready to go because we're going to have early mornings and late nights and I need to make sure that my family will eat as healthy as we can. So the first thing that I did and that I like to do while doing my freezer meals or before even starting anything is finding ones, of course, that I want to try, and then taking some gallon Ziploc bags or reusable Ziploc bags would be fine too, and writing on them what it is that I'm gonna make. So I figured I'd do a couple beef recipes and then I would also do a couple of chicken recipes. I really like to do chicken in the crock pot. We don't do as much beef in the crock pot, but I figured a couple of these sounded really good and I wanted to try them. So I'm gonna start with a beef and barley stew. This is probably gonna be the one with the most ingredients out of all of the 6 freezer meals that I've made, that I'm gonna make today. I love these things and I use these all the time, not just for freezer meals, but also anytime I'm meal prepping for the week or even putting leftovers away. I keep a few of these in my drawer handy so that I can easily easily get them out of the cupboard. I also like to write on my Ziploc bag what I need to add, taking it from the freezer to the crock pot. Most of the time I'm not gonna take my freezer meals out the night before, so it's important to be able to have meals that I can just take directly from the freezer and pour them directly into the crock pot, turn it on, and I'm good to go. So the beef and barley stew is one of them that we're going to do first. I've already chopped up some onion here and I'm just gonna add that to my bag. I think I'm only gonna do half an onion. I also chopped up 3 carrots and then 3 celery sticks in here, just bite size. I'm gonna pour those into my bag. I'm going to get some tomato paste. I like to, every time I open a can and don't use the whole can, I like to use a cookie scoop and make tiny little dollops so that when I do need them next, I can just grab them from the freezer. So these are just some tomato paste that I had left over. I have half a bag of peas here, frozen peas. And then I'm just gonna throw in my seasonings. I also have some broth here that I'm gonna put inside my inside freezer. This is just homemade chicken broth that I did in the Instant Pot. And I'll just have it in there handy so that when I go to pull this meal out and put it in the crock pot, it's all together and ready to go. So for the seasonings, it's 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and then also 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. This is my Italian seasoning from Azure and it smells like pizza sauce. If you have not seen my video on my Azure haul and the few things that I got for my second Azure haul ever, please go check it out after this. There are some really good things in there. I love the quality of Azure, and when I can pick it up, I will definitely put in an order and go do it. It beats going to Costco, and it's super easy to do, other than you have to be flexible on when you go to get it, because it's normally during the week, during the day when we're all at work. So the last ingredient in here for now is going to be, besides my meat, is going to be a puck of garlic. This garlic, I just purchased a big bag from Costco, and then I take my food processor and I mince it up, and it takes about maybe 3 minutes to mince the whole entire bag. And then I take it and put it onto a cookie sheet and I freeze it with some parchment paper. And then I just put it into the bag. So whenever I need garlic, it's ready to go. The last thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my meat in here. This is elk stew meat, but please feel free to use beef stew meat. This is just what we have in the freezer. And we need to use up because hunting season's happening again soon. So I'm just gonna take it out to make it fit better. And then I need to write on here, I forgot to write on here, not only to add broth to this, but to also add 1/4 cup flour and 1/4 cup sugar to help thicken it and make it more of a stew. I also have this barley here. It's in this cute little bag that I will dump in my crock pot, and then it will cook with the beef stew. So I'm gonna put that in here as well. It won't hurt anything for it to go in the freezer. You can also cook this separately. It says right on the container that it only takes 10 minutes to cook. So that's not much time to dedicate to dinner. But there is our first freezer meal done. For my second freezer meal, I am going to do Mongolian beef. On this one, I have add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and we're gonna add that after it's done cooking. This one, of course, Mongolian beef, it just has kind of a sauce that you add to it, but other than that, it's not really, you don't put broth or anything in it for the crock pot. So for this one, okay, we have our beef. Again, you can use flank steak, that's what was recommended, but I had more elk stew meat, so I will use that for my beef. I know a lot of people don't really like gamey meat, and that's fine. It's just, like I said, it's just what we have. I don't really buy beef anymore because we have the ability to have fresh elk on hand all the time. So I use that often in my cooking, but it's the same as beef, just a little bit leaner. Then to that, I'm going to actually add this last. Ooh. To this bag first, what I'm going to add is my garlic and put my puck in there. One of these pucks is probably equivalent to, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. It does make things really garlicky. 1/2 cup of soy sauce. More there, that's only about 1/4 that was left. Okay, 1/4 cup of water. Just using some filtered water here. I'm also going to need to add on here 2 green onions. When I go to actually cook it, I'm going to need to have green onions, and it's not something that I have on hand right now, but that's okay. I'm also going to add some ginger. I just had this ginger in my fridge. It's just some crushed ginger, in my freezer, and I need to use it up. So I'm really excited that I was able to find some recipes to use up this ginger. I had a whole bunch of things that I found and that I've been able to use for today's freezer meal stock because I cleaned out my freezer in one of my last videos. So go check that out as well. And I organized it. I'm adding some shredded carrots. If you have big carrots or even baby carrots, you could probably use those instead of shredded carrots. This recipe just called for them and I had them on hand, so why not use them up? It says half a cup of brown sugar as well for this recipe, so I'm going to use my regular sugar, and then to that I'm going to add some molasses. To make my brown sugar. Okay, this is just blackstrap molasses from Azure, and this was not that expensive either. It was about $7 for this bottle here, which I think in the grocery store it's a lot more expensive, so I was happy that this was that price. I'm also going to add to this some onion, just because I liked caramelized onions. And you can cook this not only in the crock pot, but if you have extra time, you can also cook this on your stove and just add some rice, cook some rice with it, or some ramen noodles. That would be yummy dinner. Okay, I am going to mix the sauce. It does not say anything about mixing the sauce in the recipe, but I'm going to just because I feel like it needs to be incorporated. And then I'm going to actually add my meat in there so that it can marinate while it's in the freezer. It smells so good. It smells gingery and like soy sauce from the soy sauce mixture and garlicky. I can't wait to try this one. Okay, there is our second freezer meal done. For the third freezer meal, we are going to do orange beer chicken. I already wrote on here to add 1 beer to this when I go to cook it. Normally something that I have in the fridge, maybe in the back of the fridge or just somewhere in my house. So that shouldn't be hard. If you don't have beer on hand, you could also probably just add chicken broth and it would be just as good. Or if you choose not to have beer in your cooking, then chicken broth works wonderful as well. So for this particular one, this is super easy. I'm just gonna take my chicken breast and grab a bowl because I'm gonna need more garlic and I don't wanna keep putting my hands on everything and touching the chicken. And I'm gonna take out 4 garlic pucks and then that way I have them ready to go. I think what I'm gonna do, the rest of these are chicken recipes, so I'm just gonna do my chicken in each one of these bags and then we'll add all the flavors to them as we make them. So I'm gonna do 2 big chicken breasts. Actually, I'm gonna do 3 big chicken breasts per bag. For freezer meals, I like to purchase these chicken breasts, the already frozen chicken breasts. You don't have to. You can do organic chicken and use it just from the meat area of your grocery store. But I like to do this just because even if I don't have any of these dump freezer meals, it's an easy thing frozen to throw into your crock pot. Okay. There's 2 in there, and then have a quick dinner made and ready to go. So this bag alone has made 5 meals for my family. And I probably could have stretched it a little bit more and made 6 or 7, but I put 3 pieces of chicken into each, well, 2 into this one and then 3 into the other ones. I also have 2 in the crock pot right now that we're gonna have for dinner tonight, and I'm making that recipe here. As another dump meal option. Okay, so back to the orange beer chicken. I'm going to add to my chicken, garlic, 1 puck. I'm going to add some orange juice. And then I'm gonna add some basil. I'm gonna grab some right now. I have some fresh basil over here on my windowsill. And I'm just gonna chop that up real quick. It can just be a rough chop, nothing special. It's just to give flavor to the dish. Okay. And I'm a little nervous about this one. I really like flavor in my cooking, but that's all that this calls for besides a can of beer. It was 4 ingredients other than the chicken. So let's see how this one turns out. But there's another freezer meal done. Okay, for our next freezer meal, let's do the Caribbean chicken. The Caribbean chicken is the one that I currently have in the crock pot right now. And I remember from this morning, I added dried cranberries. About 1/4 of a cup, I think is what it calls. We are going to add 1/3 cup of orange juice. Just gonna add the rest of that. It's not gonna hurt anything. And then I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I'm going to add 1/4 cup brown sugar. So just gonna do my regular sugar mixture again with some molasses. And then it calls for pineapple, 8 ounces of canned pineapple. So I'm just gonna take a couple spears here. My hands are clean, by the way. And I'm gonna chop them and throw them into my bag. And then I'm gonna add some juice in there. This seemed like a really refreshing summer type of chicken with a lot of different flavors in it. I plan to cook some brown rice tonight with this. And then I also have some stir-fry vegetables that are already done up from the other night when I did stir-fry and we didn't finish the vegetables. So I'm just gonna make this like a chicken bowl recipe. I'm gonna go with one more little sphere here. I need some pineapple for another recipe as well. So, okay, in goes all that pineapple. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of the juice in there. Okay, there's our 5th meal done and ready to go into the freezer. I'm gonna mix this around a little bit just so everything can incorporate again. The sugar and the juice. Make sure the chicken's in the mixture. Okay, for our next one, we're gonna do pineapple salsa chicken. And this one is just as simple as the last few that we've done together, where it's just a few pineapple spheres that I'm gonna chop up like I did last time with the last recipe. I like to have pineapple on hand, by the way, so pretty much everything from these meals that I've made are just simply things that I've already have on hand. So all I had to do was go shopping in my freezer, in my pantry, outside pantry. Okay, so that was 3 pineapple spheres. And I'm wondering if I should add one more. I think I might add one more. Or at least half of one, maybe. Okay. That looks good for that. And actually this one called for 20 ounces of pineapple. The other was only 8, so I think I am gonna do this other half of the pineapple there. And then to that, I'm just gonna add one jar of salsa. This is just a homemade salsa. I like to make my salsa on my own and then jar it up, normally from tomatoes that I have from the season. Okay, and it smells so good. Okay, just gonna dump that in there, that whole thing. And for that one, that was it. This one smells delicious. Can't wait to try this one either. You could do some chicken tacos with that, or you could do burrito bowls with that. You could also do just a handful of things with that one. This last one that we're gonna do is ginger peach chicken. And this one I had to get creative with because it sounded so good. But I didn't have, this one I might not be able to use, and I think I didn't have peach jam, which it called for. So instead, what I did have was some peaches, frozen peaches. And I decided, you know what, let me just make some peach jam really quick. It's not that hard to make a quick peach mixture. So here on the stove behind me, this whole entire video, I've had some peaches that were frozen that have been cooking down. And then to this, I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar just to help them break down a little bit more. So I'm gonna let those cook for a little bit longer while I put the rest of my ingredients together. And those ingredients are going to be another puck of garlic, I'm gonna put 1.5 in there because that one was smaller. We have 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And then to that, I'm gonna put in some more of my crushed ginger. So I'm gonna put in 4 cubes of ginger here for this one. And then in a moment, I'm gonna add my peaches. Which my peaches are looking really good. If you wanted more of a puree, you could mash these a little bit more. I'm not going to, just because it's not gonna hurt anything if you don't. I'm gonna get all the rest of this goodness out of here. Okay, and that was just as easy as my 6 freezer meals here. So please look for that next video. If you liked today's video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any other wonderful recipes that we might do. Thanks.